Love. Love can be very painful, someone said to me recently. And you know what? At first, when I first heard it, I was like, ooh. But you know what? Like, I didn't agree with it when I first heard it. But after I started feeling different things here and there, I look back to that and I'm like, whoa. They knew what they were talking about when they said that. It is painful. It can be very painful. Very painful. You know, I listen to this music a lot. I don't know why, I'm just kind of addicted to it, but it's Dennis Lloyd. And he sings that song, Nevermind. You probably know it. But he has this one song, it's called Think About It. And in it he says, the hardest and the most best moments in your life are your relationships. The hardest and the most best moments in your life are relationships. And then he goes on to talk about how when you're 95 or 100 years old and you're looking back on your life, you're not going to be wishing you bought more stuff or wishing you had a bigger house or a nicer car or worked more or, you know, traveled more. You're going to be wishing you spent more time with the people that you love, with your relationships. And when someone that you love dies, you're going to wish you had more time with them. Like, that's what it's about, you know? So yeah, love is painful. Sure it is. It sucks sometimes. It's like so great and so hard at the same time. You know, it's not easy at all. Not easy at all. But the hardest and the most best moments in your life, you know, are relationships. And you know what? It's easy to be alone. It's easy to be, I mean, I say that because I've experienced being alone. And I know there's a lot of people that would disagree with that because there are a lot of people that can't be alone. And I get that. But I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about the people that haven't experienced being alone and don't know what it's like to be alone. I'm talking about the people that have experienced both. And it is easy to be alone because there's no emotion there. It's just you, and there's no relationship to work on, and there's no highs and lows, and there's no compromise. You just do whatever you want. Like, I mean, it's easy to be alone because it's not the everyday life that's difficult. It's the heart, when the heart hurts, you know? It's you know, love can be painful. Yeah, it's the ups and downs of the emotions when you're in love, the hurt, the abandonment, the fear, all that stuff that causes pain, right? You know, when you're in a fight with your partner, I mean, that's like, feels like the end of the world, you know? So yeah, I think it's easy to be alone. It's easy to be alone. And relationships are the hardest thing to work on. Like, that's the hardest part of life. Everything else really doesn't have as much importance. It's about the people. It's about love. Love is like the most important thing, you know? So anyone that's not allowing themselves to love, I feel for you, you know? You're missing living. You're missing life. You're missing the most important parts. Yeah, they're the most painful. I get it. But they're the most important parts, you know? So, yeah, I'm not an expert, definitely not an expert, but I can tell you I've had a lot of experience loving, a lot of experience in relationships, because I've had quite a few. I was engaged 3 times, you know, I was married, walked down the aisle. I've been in long-term relationships, very long-term, short-term. I haven't been in a lot of, like many casual relationships, so I'm not really good about that. But I've definitely experienced different types of relationships and the different types of stages that you go through in relationships, you know, and love. and how love grows and it changes, and the things you learn when you're in a relationship. And I think sometimes today it's kind of confusing because it's kind of a different world. There's so much access to people and to connection. It's different, you know, people can just scroll, you know, there's dating apps, there's endless people available to go on dates. So it seems very casual to me. It feels very, it doesn't feel like it used to feel, you know, like when I was dating earlier on in life, when a boy would see you and they really were attracted to you, like they went out of their way to try to win you over just to get your phone number, you know? And once they got your phone number, yes, first thing they're gonna do is call you up and ask you out on a date. They wouldn't ask you to hang out, you know, they'd ask you out on a date and take you out and wine, you know, we used to call it wine and dine you, but they would try to impress you because they wanted a second date, you know, they wanted a third date. And they didn't have the app in front of them where they could just scroll, or, you know, Instagram where, you know, people are just reaching out, DMing all these people, you know, I mean, that wasn't available. So it was more meaningful, you know. So today is a little different, definitely, in the dating. And it does feel very casual, you know. And it's still very confusing, though, because I get so many different views from so many different people, because it really depends on the life that you're living, what you've experienced, and what your expectations are, your beliefs are, and, you know, what circle you're in on what you expect, you know, like for in other words, when I was younger, it was like, oh, you grow up, you get married, you have a family. That's just what you do, you know? And I do believe that that perception is still out there for the, you know, a belief system. And I think, because I hear it a lot from my friends that are younger, that haven't been married yet, that also want a family, and, you know, that clock is ticking, you know? So I hear it. And also I think it's kind of like one of those things, like you just do in life. And if you don't, I think it's easy to feel like you're missing out on something. You know, there are a lot of people want to just get married and have a family, you know, and I understand that, because everything I did was always backwards, okay? But I did get married, and I did have the family, and I did all of that. I just did everything backwards. So I know and I understand that feeling of just wanting the end results, you know? I get it. And I also know and see and feel and talk to a lot of girls that don't want that, that feel very confused because they feel the pressure from other people, like that's what they're supposed to do, right? Like some people just don't want to get married, and that's okay. They don't have to get married. I feel that. I believe that. You don't want to get married, don't get married. You don't want a family, don't have a family. Everybody doesn't have to have kids. First of all, everyone's not meant to be parents. And second of all, being a parent is not an easy thing, you know? Like, I mean, it's the best thing, I feel, like it's made my life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But it definitely wasn't easy. I went through a lot. And so I think if a person chooses to get married and have a family, or chooses to have kids, I think it's important that they want that. And if they want that, then they should do that, you know, right? Like, but if you don't want it, I think that's okay too, you know? But I do hear how uncomfortable it is for people if they don't want to have kids, or they don't want to get married, or they don't want to be in a relationship, you know? People think you're weird. Like for the longest time, honestly, in the last, okay, so I got divorced in 2018, and I did not want a relationship, period. Like there was no way. Like I did not want one. I had no interest. And I was still attracted here and there, you know, tried it, but I did not want a relationship. And do you know how many people told me, oh, everybody wants a relationship. Oh, you just have to give it a chance. Oh, everybody wants. I'm like, no, you're kind of missing it. Did you hear what I said? I really don't want a relationship. You know, like they did not believe me that I didn't want a relationship, you know? And I had to I almost felt like I had to explain myself, but I don't have to explain myself, but they're looking at you like they don't believe you. And it's like, why can't you just choose not to want to be in a relationship, you know? And then I know a lot of women that have already been through the marriage and the kids and all of that, that don't want a relationship and they're totally happy and they never want another relationship in their life. Like they don't want to be with another relationship. And I understand that too. I get it. That's not me, because I do love men and I do love being in a relationship when I'm in one, but it's not something I need. You know what I mean? It's not something, it just depends on what I want at the time. But anyway, I didn't want one for a long time, but I got all the looks, you know? So I was talking to this friend of mine, and she's been married for like, I don't know, 6 years or something. She's a young girl. And in my head, the first thing I wanted to ask is, do you want kids, or are you gonna have a family, you know? And something told me to hesitate. And the subject of kids ended up coming up. And I said to her, I said, I bet people always ask you that question, don't they? And she's like, she just had a really weird look on her face, and she said, you know what? They always do, always. And you know what? I don't know if I want kids. Like, we don't know if we want them. But they always ask that. And it was like such an uncomfortable feeling for her, you know? You could tell what was coming out. And even myself, you know, I don't believe in like things have to be a certain way, but I even thought about it in my head, wanting to ask that, you know? So I could just imagine how many people ask that question. So she said yes. And how uncomfortable that must be, right? You get married, you're happy, you're in a great relationship, and you're getting sympathy from people over and over and over because you don't have kids and they feel sorry for you. And you're like, don't even want them. Like, how does that make sense, right? Like, does that make sense? That you have kids, or you want kids, and you're going to feel sorry for someone who is married happily and they don't have kids, so you're going to feel sorry for them and give them that look and ask questions about it and make them feel uncomfortable? Yeah, you're making them feel uncomfortable when you're asking if they want kids, if they're going to have kids, or, you know, blah, 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 you know. I mean, those are pretty private questions if you think about it, you know. But yeah, I think it's okay to want whatever you want, you know. It's definitely okay. But if you're a woman and you're not in a relationship, oh my God, the questions that you get. Don't you want to be in one? How come? You know, like, oh, like they feel sorry for you, you know, and you're like, wait a second. I could be in a relationship tomorrow if I wanted to be in one, you know? You're like, don't feel sorry for me. Life's pretty good, you know? I mean, it's just very interesting, you know? But I do remember that feeling of wanting to be married because, okay, so just to share with you, I had the baby by myself. I had the baby before I got married. I had the baby when I was in college, and I was a single mom. And I was a single mom in a time when it was very few single moms. Like, that was not the norm at all. And I chose to do it on my own because her father just, when I told him the news, he didn't react very well, and didn't want to have the baby and all of that, and kind of planned to like not have her and do all of that. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, this is not what I want. I want to have the baby, and if you don't want to be there, that's okay. And I chose to have the baby by myself, so that's what I did. So 22, I was 22, and went through all of that. And so I was a single mom in a time when, like I said, I probably looked like a baby, because 22 is a baby. And I was a single mom in a time when people questioned me all the time and judged me all the time. But I, so that's okay. But I did, after a while, really feel that I wanted to be married one day. And I also wanted a father for my daughter, because he wasn't involved. So I wanted her to have that family life, right? And I just thought, because I really grew up thinking and believing that marriage was end all, that we grow up and we get married, and I believed in that fairy tale of growing old with a partner. And I think it's great when that happens, right? And if that's what they want, that's great. But I thought that's what I wanted, and that was like really important to me. So I understand that feeling. I was in a relationship, and it was a good relationship, actually. I mean, we learned a lot together. We were the same age, and he was a really, really good man. And I learned a lot with him. We went through so many different stages. I mean, let's talk about love for a minute, because like at first you have these major endorphins. Like you're so, actually it's chemical, they say. They say the first year and a half, it's these chemical endorphins or whatever is released, and you feel high, you feel like that's what love is. You feel this high feeling. And a lot of times the first year and a half, you don't even see what's in front of you because you're so in love, and the endorphins wear off, and then that's when you look at what you're really seeing and what you really have. I mean, because I don't know if you've ever been in an early relationship and like they do something you're like that's really irritating. You're like, oh, it's so cute, oh, it's okay, and then later on that same thing, if you're in a long-term relationship, drives you insane, And I think that's why, if you ever notice and watched marriages, okay, if you go and you hang out with couples that have been married for a long time, they tend to nitpick at each other a lot. They tend to talk to each other maybe not so nice. Their voices sound a little stressed, they sound a little irritated. They treat each other very different, very different. And that happens. That happens in a lot of couples. And I think it's might be, just because you're with somebody all the time and you just expect it to be forever because you're committed and you're in this forever relationship, and you don't, maybe you don't work on things anymore, and I don't know. I was married for a long time, so I know I did it. I probably wasn't as nice to my husband after a while, I mean, I don't know. But, so yeah, they say after a year and a half, the endorphins wear off. And that's, I've had like 3 or 4 different year and a half relationships. And it's interesting because when I read that, I was like, oh my God, when I looked back, that was the turning point. They were all a year and a half. And it was really interesting because I was like, oh my God, after a year and a half, I decided whether I wanted to be in it or not. and then I ended up breaking up with them. And so it was interesting when I read that about the endorphins, and I think there's a lot of truth in that. But I lost my train of thought. I was talking about how I really wanted to get married. So I'm in this relationship, and we're committed. It was great guy. You know, we went through so much together, and we had lots of fun. But it's like, where's it going? You know, where's it going? I just wanted to know where it was going, you know, at that time, because it's like you just want to, like, I know what it's like to want to be married. And that was like something really important to me. And we ended up getting married. So there's a time in our lives when we really want the marriage so bad that that's what we're trying to accomplish, is the actual marriage, instead of finding or end up coming across and meeting someone and just falling in love with them and just like have it like unfold and getting to know them and just like wanting to be with them, just to be with them without the end result. You know, it's very different. It's very different. I mean, that's where I am now. So I've experienced both. I know what it's like to want the family, to want the marriage, want the house together, want the vision of what you want your life to look like. The end result. I call it the end result because it's like you're envisioning the life, right? Instead of meeting someone and just, you know, everything happening with that person. And now that you're with that person, now you start envisioning your life together with that person, because that person is creating the want. You're picturing that stuff with him or her because everything is just feeling so good, and you're, you know, do you know what I mean? Like, it's different. It's different when you really want the outcome, when the outcome is the prize. You know, I lived it, I understand it, I wanted it, I did it, I know exactly what that feels like. So I have a lot of friends that are at that stage, and they're looking at the prize, they're looking at the outcome. And nowadays, dating is very different. Dating is very different. People don't have to be in a relationship. They don't have to have a partner. They're not looked at as weird if they don't have a partner. So there's a lot of people that are single. There is a lot of people that are not taking dating serious because it's not necessary to have a partner, right? So, and then the accessibility of social media and dating apps and just the access that we have of each other, you know? The communication is just so constant. You text somebody and you're like, I texted you 5 hours ago, you didn't text me back. It's like, gosh, when I was dating, we didn't have phones, so there was no way we would go all day long without talking to each other, and you'd have to be home and available in order to call the person back, and they had to be home and available at the same time that you called them. You know what I mean? So there was no constant communication, you know? So it's like a totally different world now. And there's a lot of communication and a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure to have to respond, or a lot of pressure we put on each other. So it's very different, but it's also very casual. People don't take it as serious because all they got to do is hop on a dating app and scroll to the next person. Like, there's literally 100 faces that they can ask out tomorrow if they wanted to. So they don't really try very hard, you know? It's very casual. And social media, like the way people are just like meeting on social media, DMing you, hey, I saw your picture. You know, it's like, okay, like, I don't even know what you look like, and you want to have a conversation with me? You don't even have a profile picture. I don't even know who you are. You know what I mean? And they're asking you out. I'm in love with you. You're like, what do you mean you're in love with me? You're in love with the picture. Oh, it's crazy world, you know? So, but it makes dating insane, you know? So, oh, I got so sidetracked. I was talking about the end results, you know? So, my advice for being there and experiencing both is not to put the pressure on the end result, because the end result it's not. Life doesn't change because we get somewhere, okay? Oh, when I have a house and I have my own place and I have a husband and I have this, everything's gonna, you know, it's gonna be just perfect. But there is no end result, you know? It's like all of the moments up to that. Every moment is important, and those are the moments that we have to focus on, you know? So when you're looking for a partner, when you're looking, you're not going to find one. You're not going to find one. And maybe you don't even want a relationship. Like, I get a lot of people messaging me about them feeling validated because I'm living life as an independent single woman, traveling the world, doing things to you know, on my own. And they're like, wow, I want to be able to do that. Thank you. Because, you know, in my country or in my family, we're supposed to get married and have a family, you know, and this is just what's expected of me, and I don't know if I even want that. And just knowing that I might be able to choose something different, and that other people are doing this, and that it might be okay, gives me validation that maybe I don't have to do what they're telling me or making me feel like I have to do, you know? And I think that's okay too. I think it's really important to just choose what you want and just do what you want. I mean, I've always done things outside of the box, and I've also done things in the box. And they're the same. You know what I mean? It's like, what difference does it make? No one's going to judge you any different. And if they do, that's their problem, you know? I think it's really important to do what you feel, what you want. 100%. I think I got sidetracked. But love. I'm looking at my wall here because it's kind of an ugly artifact on my wall, but it says live, life, live, love, laugh. I don't even know what the second word says. It's one of those cheesy art things for the wall, which I want to take down. But love, that's what I wanted to talk about, was love. Talking about all this other stuff. So I only knew safe love. I was never in a relationship with a partner or with a man that wasn't already in love with me before I loved them. Yes, I felt chosen. So when I hear everybody talking about this online, you want to feel chosen, you want to feel important, you know, all of this stuff. I mean, yeah, it's nice to feel loved. But I think I view it a little bit different, you know, because it's also loving, it's also not taking any risk either. Loving someone that already loves you. Like they already love you. Where's the risk? You know what I mean? Like, love is scary. Love is painful. Love is messy. Love is scary as hell, to be honest with you. It's not scary loving somebody back. They already love you. That's easy. I mean, it's so hard. but there's no risk, so I noticed that this was one of my things that I've been working on, and maybe it comes from trauma as a child, I don't know, but abandonment issues, whatever. I was being chosen instead of choosing. You know what I mean? Like the men that I've been with chose me, and I eventually fell in love with them. So I thought about it a lot after I left my husband and everything, and it was coming up a lot because I was like, I just want to love. Like, here's another thing that comes up a lot, We want to be treated a certain way. We want a certain life. We want them to behave in a certain way. We want, we create all these things of what we want in a partner, what we see that in other partners or hear about or movies or whatever. We want all these things from our partner. And so we meet these people and we're looking for all these qualities. And it's almost like a checklist. Like I've heard people say, oh, he boxed all my checks, all of my boxes, he checked all my boxes. I was talking to a young guy at the spa for like hours one night. We just talked and talked and talked. And he was so confused because he was, first of all, so advanced for his age. He was in his early 20s, but really smart guy, like gave me some good advice. And he was a little confused because he knew he wanted to be single for a while. He knew eventually he wanted to get married and have a family, but he also knew he really wanted to be single right now. And there's things that he wanted to do in life and accomplish and do before he settled down with a girlfriend. But at the same time, he was also afraid that he would lose the right one, meaning the right one would come and he wouldn't be ready for it, so he would lose her. So he was like actively looking and dating, but didn't expect her to wait around, but at the same time, he was like conflicted. He's like, I'm so conflicted. And he was so fearful that he would lose the right one, And we were talking, and he was sharing all of this with me, and he had 2 girls that he was actually seeing, and one of them he felt really, really, really connected with, like really connected with. And then the other one, he didn't feel as connected. The one that he felt connected with, he said, did not check all of his boxes. The one that he didn't feel connected with checked all the boxes for his future, everything he wanted in a woman and a partner. And he's conflicted because he knows the one that checked all the boxes is the one he thought he should be with. But at the same time, he's not ready to even be with somebody. But all this is going on in his head, right? Interesting, right? And he felt, I don't know if he felt like, he goes, this other one, he kept talking about the other one. He goes, there's something about her, something about us, there's something about, but she doesn't check all the boxes, and he's like going on and on. And I'm like, oh my God, think about it. Think about it. It's like, there is no boxes. I mean, yeah, they're going to have certain qualities, certain things you want, but no one's going to check them all. And even when you check them all, there's still going to be things that you're going to find along the way that you're going to have to work on. So, like, what are we looking for? Are we looking for, are we like buying a house and we're checking for all the bedrooms and the bathrooms and the space that you need? I mean, is that what we're looking for in a partner? I don't get it, It's like but this is kind of what happens. I think a lot of people are looking for all these things that they need from the other person, that they want from the other person. Like the other person is supposed to have all these things in order for us to love them and be with them because they have all these qualities, And I get it because I was there. I did the same thing, you know, like what kind of life am I going to have with this person? What are they going to give me? What will our life look like? How does he treat me? What does he do for me? How, you know, blah, 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 blah. You know, I get it. I did it. And it doesn't make the relationship any easier. You still go through all your stuff, you know. There's still going to be something coming up. But I really wanted to just love one without the security of knowing they loved me first. I wanted to choose. I wanted to choose instead of be chosen. And I also didn't want and need, I didn't have that checklist, you know, that checklist, because you know what? Here's what happens. As you've been through a few things and you've been through life and you've been through relationships and you become very confident because you have experienced so much in life and you know that you can do anything you want and anything that you put your mind to, you stop needing other people. You start wanting them instead. Like there's a difference because you don't need them. And you don't need all this stuff from them because you can give it to yourself. You know, like when you really love yourself and you're giving yourself all these things, you don't need those things from the other person. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is what you learn after a while. And for me, like where I am in love right now is like, I don't look at what they can give me. I don't. I look at how I feel with them. I look at them as a person. I look at like who they are. I look at how I feel. I look at, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just different. It's very different. And by the way, yep, I am in love. I am in love right now. But it's very interesting. I really feel this, though. I really feel that we grow and we're always learning if we're lucky. I think it's beautiful for a couple to be together their entire life, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I think it's beautiful, and I'm happy for them, and I think it's great. I do. But I also believe that if that's not what a person wants, that that's okay too. You know, I have a friend of mine who asked me, we were talking about sex and being in a relationship for a long time, because they really weren't in long-term relation, like really long-term. And I told her that we had daily sex almost most of my marriage, you know? And she's like, what, with the same person you still had daily sex for that long? I thought it would get like she couldn't even imagine that would, like, that would still be something that you would do after all those years, you know? And, you know, so there are people that don't want the long-term relationship. And I think that's okay too. I think whatever the person wants is what matters. I don't think there should be a box. I don't think there should be a way. I don't think we have to like fit ourselves into this category, you know? Yeah, I think it's really important to just trust what you feel and trust what you want and explore. Because, you know, I was married twice and I've been in a lot of different relationships, and every single one of the relationships I've been in, I've learned so much from each person. And I've learned so much about relationships, and I learned so much about myself. If I would have been with the same person my whole life, I mean, I wonder, you know, if I would be who I am today, you know, like I've learned because I chose to live the way I lived, you know, like it's helped me evolve, you know. So I'm grateful for the way I've lived, but It doesn't mean it's the right way. If someone else chooses to be with the same person their whole life, then that's good too. You know, they're both good. Everything is okay. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just it's really important to just trust ourselves and trust what we want and just not care what the fuck anybody else thinks, you know? That's what I think. Just trust yourself and do what you feel. That's the only thing that matters. Yepper. It's the older sister you wish you had. Thanks for coming. Follow me on Instagram. Follow my journey, Robin.Bushell. If you're not already subscribing, subscribe. Thanks for being here. Love to hear about what you feel about love. Love is painful.